wasn't professional, but I had to be sure. Hello, everyone. Welcome to More Than Magic. We are a visual media studio in San Antonio, Texas, located in the heart of the East Side. I am so happy that our guest is here. It took some time management and shifting. She is a very busy woman, but I would like to introduce everyone to Patricia François-Wolfe.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you.
So we have a tradition at the show.
Okay.
And the first thing that I want to ask you is about your name, because Patricia it's not an unusual name. Okay. Francois is a little bit more, I would say, obscure in the United States.
Right.
So I'd like to know the story of your first and last name, and if there's like an anecdote or like a family story or what the history of your name is.
Okay. Well, Patricia is actually patrician. So it comes from the base patrician, which means nobility. So my dad named me Patricia. I never found out why he named me Patricia, but he did. And so my mom used to say, yeah, your dad named you. Okay, that's easy. Francois is Haitian background. Well, it's my mother's maiden name, actually. And I took that name after my mother passed away. I actually officially changed my name, Francois. And I'm Haitian. I have Haitian roots.
Yes.
Just like you.
Yes.
And I actually looked up the name to see kind of what it means, and it actually means free man. So it's a powerful name. And there are lots of Haitians that have that name, that last name. So I always tell people, if you're Haitian and you have the last name François, we're most likely related.
Yeah. And it would be really cool if like some of your people out there watching and they're like, she does kind of look like she might be my cousin.
Hey, I'm on Ancestry.
Because yes. So we do have that commonality, the Haitian background.
Yes.
And did you grow up in Haiti? Did you grow up in the United States? What did your...
So I was born and raised in the States. So I was born in Illinois, south of Chicago, not Chicago, south of Chicago,
Right.
Small town. And my mother actually came to the States when she left for college. So my mom was born and raised in Haiti.
Yes.
In a small town. She was raised in a small town called Petit Guave. And so she lived there until she was 18-ish, 19. And then she came to the States, and she actually originally was in Ohio. Yeah, very random. My grandfather was a pastor, so it was through a church.
Okay.
And so she came to Ohio, and then she ended up in Illinois, and that's where she met my dad, and then here I am.
And here you are. Well, thank goodness for her coming to,
Yes.
There's so many different narratives about, immigrants and how our immigrant ancestors came to be here. And the ones that made that decision to come to the United States because they knew that something better was in store. And so then we have the manifestation of that because you are living your best life. And I really want to talk about all of this. So you are, right before the show, I called you a travel expert. And you're like, I'm not really a travel expert. But I want to, while we're on air, I want to give that title to you and have you own it because, as Black women, I think there's sometimes an idea that we don't get to see the world. And in many cases, we don't.
Yeah.
So my first question for you is, what was your first big trip?
Wow, first big trip.
Yeah, because I think that's probably when you got the bug.
Yeah, probably. So when I was little, we traveled all the time around the States. And then I actually spent a lot of my summers in New York. So grew up in Illinois, but had family in New York, in Brooklyn. So we would go to Brooklyn. My mom would send us or we would drive.
Yes.
My first plane ride was actually from Chicago to New York.
Okay.
That was my first plane ride ever. But my first big trip, honestly, I would have to say that my first big trip was to Italy. Big trip.
Okay.
Across the Atlantic, right? And so I really got the bug then.
Yeah.
And since then, I've visited several countries.
Yes.
And that was just, I think Italy was in 2016.
Okay.
So it hasn't been that long since I did my first big trip, but that was where I caught the bug, and I
You haven't
I can't
stopped
sit
since.
still.
Yeah. So you have a Haitian American woman in Italy for the first time. That's very powerful. And I actually, before talking about all of your travels, I do want to talk about your Haitian identity because that is such an integral part of who you are.
Yes,
I love how proud you are. I love that you're fluent in Creole. Mine is horrible. I'm trying. I can say a lot of very inappropriate things, and I can order food.
And I can't say the inappropriate things.
Really? Okay, so we'll have to do this after the show. We'll train.
We're going to do that.
But, you know, anytime I tell anyone about my Haitian background, they're like, "Sac passe," and it's like, okay, calm down. But I'm curious, for you, what do you think are like maybe 3 or 4 phrases that are good for people to know if they ever travel to Haiti?
Oh, wow.
Besides sac passe and napule, because that's the...
Those are your 2 major ones.
Right.
So, like, if you go to Haiti and you can't say sac passe, people are going to probably go like, why are you here? Honestly, like, that's the truth. I don't know key phrases because when I go, I'm just talking to
You're
people,
just having
right?
natural conversation.
And the thing is, I grew up speaking Creole and English because my grandmother came to live with us when my brother was born. So I was 3. And so she came to live with us and she didn't speak any English. So I just kind of picked it up. And the story goes, because my mom always tells people this, one day she walked in the room and I was speaking Creole to my grandmother. And she looked and was like, I didn't teach her that. And my grandmother was like, I didn't either, but she learned it. And I have been speaking Creole since.
Ever since.
And so, I mean, I got lucky. I really did. Because I didn't get taught. And I still have it.
And you probably have the accent as well.
When I speak Creole, I'm told I have an accent. I don't hear an accent.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was lucky. And even though like the majority of the people that I speak Creole, I used to speak Creole with on a regular basis, have either passed away or I don't see them that often. I still have friends that when I talk to them, they're like, yeah, we're speaking Creole today. And I'm like, let's do it because I don't want to lose it.
Absolutely.
Because like my brother, he doesn't speak Creole very well. He can speak it enough. I mean, no shade, Paul, no shade. But like his Creole is not as good as mine. And the thing is, I'm proud of my Haitian heritage. So the fact that I can speak Creole, I'm very proud of that. And like even when I go to Haiti, go with a group and normally people are coming over to me like, hey, can you translate this for me? And I'm like, sure. I mean, you know, that's just something that I'm very proud of. And I'm glad my mother was there to encourage me and to be able to, you know, have me continue speaking Creole.
Absolutely. And that's how we keep culture alive. That's a big part of it. It's definitely the language and then also the food. The food.
Tasha, I love you.
Yeah. So, no, that's wonderful. So you said that your first trip was to Italy. And you knew then, you're like, this is going to be my lifestyle.
I need to travel.
Right.
Yes.
So I'm curious, where, I would love to have, I mean, you don't necessarily have to give a list, but what are some of the places that you have been? And then we'll kind of walk back from, you know, that. Because I know it's a lot. I follow your social media.
Yeah. So I have been to 23 countries. I counted.
I love it.
I had to count. And one of those actually is not a country. It's a city-state, the Vatican City.
Oh, okay.
But I count that because
Yes.
I went there. And I love going to Haiti.
Yes.
Haiti it's home. Even though I wasn't born there, it's home. When I go to Haiti, I feel so at ease, so relaxed, so comfortable. I've been to Haiti 6 times.
Wow.
And that's just 6 times since 2014.
Wow.
When I was younger, growing up, we wanted to go to Haiti. My mother always tried to take us to Haiti, but every time we would try to go, there was something going on there.
Life
wasn't safe. And so my mom was like, we can't go. And like, we would, buy tickets and everything and couldn't travel. And so once my mom passed away, I didn't think I would ever go to Haiti. I really didn't. And I met a friend at church, random. She was in the choir with me. And I met her and she was Haitian. And she took me to Haiti the first time.
Did you cry? Oh my God. I'm like,
I boo-hooed when I went to Haiti. It was in my soul. And I'm not like, it really was. That was the very first time I went. And then I've been 5 or 6 more times with this other group that we travel with, the Haitian Nomad.
Yes.
And I love it there. And Haiti is the place I will go back to over and over and over again.
Yeah. You never get tired of it.
Never. And it's a beautiful country. You know, I know a lot of times on TV, we see the poverty and all that, but there's so much more to Haiti that I wish people could see. And when I met Richard Cantave, who is the Haitian nomad, he opened up another side of Haiti for me that I didn't know existed.
Right.
And I'm very grateful to him for that opportunity. And I mean, like I said, I'll go back over and over. We actually even did a family trip there, and people that wanted to go went. And it actually only ended up being 5 people, which was small. It was planned for much more, but
that's just enough.
And it
doesn't mean bigger.
It was the perfect trip,
yeah.
and he actually planned that trip for us.
That's beautiful.
And it was great.
Yeah,
so I tell people, if you can, go.
Well, and this, before the interview, I sent some pointer or like an outline. This totally was not on that list of topics, but I do want to, because we have this platform, stress the importance of Haiti in world history. For those of you who do not know, Haiti was the first independent, free, Black republic. This is a country that said, we refuse to be colonized. Yeah. And instead of bowing to the people that were oppressing them, they got together. They summoned all of the power and might and will and said, get out.
Yes.
And I'm getting emotional, so I'm going to stop.
Haitians are strong.
But yes. Sometimes people are like, you're so nice, but you're so fiery. I'm like, that's
that Haitian side, girl.
I'm like, don't mess with it. Like, leave me alone or you will meet that. But yeah, I had to share that with the audience because I don't think everyone knows.
For sure.
And there's a lot of other history, but I just wanted to make sure I said that. So you've been to Haiti 5 or 6 times. And then what are some of the other locations? And I know you probably can't remember all of them off the top of your head, but just throw some out there.
So we've been to Thailand, Egypt, Morocco, Belize, Dominican Republic, Peru.
Yes.
We just went to Peru.
Yes.
Seychelles.
Right.
Senegal.
I love it.
We went to Tanzania, which was amazing. Just all these wonderful countries full of history. Another reason I like traveling with the group we travel with, we learn a lot about the history when we go. It's not just go to the touristy places and hang out.
Right.
I like to call his trips cultural immersion trips, because we do something that you wouldn't do on any other trip.
Right.
And there's always that authenticity. And we meet locals and we hang out with locals. I mean, while we were I want to say it was when we were in Tanzania, we went to a house. And
did you eat with people?
Oh, they cooked. They did. They showed us. We helped cook the meal, and then we all sat down and ate the meal. And that's one of my favorite memories of travel is when we did that, because we were there in the city at it was the guy that was our tour, was his family, and they invited us in and allowed us to do that, and it was amazing. And I mean, just things like that, memories and experiences that I'll have with me for a lifetime.
Yes. Well, so let's talk about, I'm sure that there are people who will eventually see this show and they may be in disbelief, because there's a very common misconception that Black people do not travel. And you and I are in a mutual group, and we know that's not true.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But also that Black women specifically aren't. But I think the reason for some of those misconceptions is that there's sometimes barriers to information. Sometimes it's financial. Right. So I want to talk about how you create your life so that you are able to travel, because you're not doing this impetuously. You have to design your life and be kind of mindful. So if there's someone out there that's watching, how would you tell them to kind of start on that road if they want it to become a part of their life? Because when I think of you, that's one of the first things I think about. I'm like, it's my Haitian sister. And then, I always think about your big smile, because you're always smiling. And then she's on a trip somewhere. Yeah. She's traveling.
Yeah. I don't like to sit still. And when I say travel is my therapy, that's real.
Yeah.
Travel makes me feel good. When we don't travel, I get a little depressed. I do. It's sad, because I feel like I'm alive when I'm out and exploring the world. One thing is, my mother did not get to travel as much as she wanted to. And that is probably my main inspiration for traveling so much. Yeah. Because she used to always talk about, I'm going to visit here and there and there and there. And she didn't get to go. to any of those places. And I'm just glad that she actually was able to go back to Haiti one time before she actually passed away, because my mom had left Haiti and she had never gone back until way later. So I'm grateful and thankful that she put that spirit in me to travel, because I can definitely say that I've seen a lot of the world, and I plan to see a lot more of it, really.
Yeah.
But for people that want to travel, I really feel like you just have to have a plan, right? And so if that's what you want to do, focus on that. Do the things that you need to do to prepare for that. Financial, I know it's expensive. Trust me, I know travel is expensive.
Yes.
But you just have to plan for it. So I actually have money that comes out of a paycheck that goes directly into a travel fund, so that when the Haitian nomad drops one of his trips and says buy in,
Right.
I have that money to put my deposit down. And oh, by the way, I pay for his trips across the year. It's like a year payment plan. So like a lot of people think, oh yeah, you guys go on trips and you just, drop, $5,000. No, I did not. I planned for this, and it's a big thing for me, is the planning phase of it, and just saving the money, and then getting plugged into like groups like the one we're in, right? Where people talk about travel and they talk about ways to do it on a budget. That's important.
Yes.
That's important. But like, we like traveling with the group we do because everything's included and you just show up.
No stress.
No stress.
That's the best way.
It's the best way to travel. And like, we actually started doing mystery trips. And
wait a minute.
Yeah.
So the Haitian nomad is doing mystery trips?
Yes, the Haitian nomad
Okay,
does
Richard.
mystery trips. Yes.
Okay.
So we went on the first one that he ever did.
Oh, I have to hear about this.
Oh yeah. So you buy into the trip.
Okay.
And just like a regular trip where he drops it on a certain day and you have to go and put your deposit in. And then you don't know where you're going. We didn't know where we were going.
How do you pack?
He tells you what to pack. So
Okay.
before every trip, he sends out an email that has a know before you go document. It tells you everything you need to know about a trip. Don't
Okay.
need to ask him anything because it's going to be in the document, I promise you. And it told us the climate. It told us, this is approximately how much things cost. I mean, it was very specific, but it kept out everything you really need to know to figure it out. We actually did a game to guess where we were going.
Right.
And we didn't do that until we got to the airport. So at JFK, we're standing in a circle and we all text him the place that we think we're going. I figured it out.
I was going to say, I had a feeling.
I did. And another Sharon.
Right.
She did. We figured it out. And it was Mauritius.
Wow.
We ended up in Mauritius with a layover in Paris.
Get out.
So I actually knocked out 2 countries that trip because our layover in Paris was 8-9 hours.
Oh, that's plenty of time to sightsee and
left
eat
the
bonbons
airport
and macarons.
Got my macarons, and also got my crepe because I've always wanted a crepe from Paris, and took the red bus tour around Paris and got back to the airport and made it to Mauritius. Mauritius was beautiful.
I've seen pictures.
Yeah.
I've never, but so you literally, I mean, had you not guessed, you wouldn't have known until you arrived.
Until you
checked in. That makes sense.
And
okay.
actually, I don't know if everybody found out when they checked in, like if they even told you, but I mean, you see it. Like, in me, I have every app for travel, all the airlines and stuff. So
yes. So that's how your powers of deduction were. Yeah. They're keen.
Oh man. The whole time I'm like, I don't know where we're going. Where are we going? Where are we going? Like, it was like, this is cool. This is really cool. And so he does them yearly now. So,
and I'm thinking I read a lot and I love travel blogs, and there may be some people watching who don't know where Mauritius is. So would you like to share
it's
with
in the Indian Ocean, off the coast of Africa. A lot of people didn't
know. And there's
know.
so many beautiful islands off of Africa.
Seychelles is, around there. We went to Seychelles too. So Seychelles was gorgeous too.
That's amazing.
A lot of beautiful places out there.
And you know what's really important? And I'm like, okay, Kirsten, get back on course. But I do want to say this, and I think you can probably speak to this. As Black people, I think one of the beautiful things about traveling is when you get to a place and you start learning, it flies in the face of so many things that we've been taught. Yeah. So I'm sure growing up, you had a certain idea of what Africa and anything around Africa looked like, felt like. Yeah. And then you get there and it's like
nothing like you would have
imagined. Does that feel?
when you get to Africa, so we've been to several African countries, and when you get to Africa, it's like, wow.
Yeah.
Why did it take me so long to get here?
Yeah.
My people.
Yeah.
Haitians are descendants from Africa, Benin and Togo to be specific, right?
Yes.
I can't wait to get there. Yeah. And he does a trip there now that I need to go on.
I may be there with you.
I think that might be one of your first Haitian nomad trips.
Yes,
really.
Yes. I've been following Richard for a while.
Yeah. But I mean, he's built such a wonderful brand and such a wonderful company. And he was originally taking trips just to Haiti.
Yeah.
And he's branched out and goes all these places.
But that's what happens when you do what I call soul work. You know, you do the good work, it grows. Yes. You know, sometimes it's not, you don't even know what's coming. Mm-hmm. It's just that's what's in store for you. Now, you mentioned employing the use of apps. Mm-hmm. And recently you were featured on an app, and I thought it was so cool. I was like texting it to my girlfriends. I was like, look. So what was the app you were featured on? And maybe share a little bit about, because it's an app that you actively use in your planning.
Mm-hmm. So it's an app called App in the Air. Mm-hmm. And basically it's an app that will track all of your travels for you. So like, it actually combs through my emails and will pull my everywhere I'm going. Yeah, it's pretty cool because I don't have to go and put it in there. If I had to put it all in there, I would never use it because I travel a lot, right? But it tracks like all my flights and everything. So I was using the app, and when I use an app, if there's bugs in it or if there's something I want in it, I will email them and let them know. Like, I'm that person.
Good.
I'll go to the little help thing and be like, hey, you should do this. Right. And so it was something that I was having a problem getting something to load in, and I reached out, did a support ticket and asked them, you know, can y'all fix this? And they were like, yeah, we should do that. And then the support guy emailed me again and said, hey, the CEO of the company would like to speak with you. And I was like, me? Wait. And so the CEO and I did a Zoom, like an hour Zoom session where he just asked me, like, what do you like about the app? What don't you like about the app? What would you do with the app if you could? And I was like, you want information like that from me?
Right.
It was amazing. Byram, he was a pretty cool guy. Like, we just talked for like an hour. And then after we talked for that hour, his marketing manager contacted me a couple weeks later or whatever. And she was like, were you serious about doing a travel blog? And I'm like, I'd love to do like a piece for a travel blog. And they have a travel blog. And so she's like, we're going to feature you. And I go, huh? Like me? And she's like, yeah. And so they like sent me a thing, and I wrote up like this whole thing, and I'm out there now. I have like a blog piece on there.
That was your
app.
Gentle nudge into the world of...
Yes, it was.
Well, I read it. It was very cool. I shared it with some girlfriends. And I think there's a lesson in that, not just when it pertains to traveling, but just living life, period. Like sometimes it's good to just kind of open our mouths and share, because had you not seen that this could be improved upon, that whole opportunity would have been missed. It wouldn't have happened. You'd still be traveling and doing all of these cool things, but just to have someone on the other side that values your opinion and says, I want to Zoom you. How often are CEOs or CFOs or anybody in the C-suite reaching out to a consumer?
And I was very shocked because they said, you know, the CEO, and I was like, I had to go and look it up. I looked up the
you're like, let me confirm.
And I was like, it's really him. And I mean, it's a great, I mean, the company, the app is really cool. And they actually just did a live, like, in-person thing in New York. And they had like a scavenger hunt while they're there. They did some really cool stuff.
So cool.
But yeah, the app is great. And I use it and makes it a little map too.
Our producer is making noise. I don't even know if everyone heard. He was moving stuff around. So it's called App in the Air.
App in the Air.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure everyone heard. There was like noise in the background. I'm like, I'm going to have her repeat that just because. Yeah.
It's a really cool app. I like it. It tracks everything. And it's just cool.
Yeah. So not only are you a Black woman who travels, you are married. And I know your lovely wife, and she's super dope, and she can dress her behind off.
Yes, she can. Yes, she can.
And I would like to talk about what that looks like being a professional woman. Both of you are professionals. Both of you are educated. And you travel together. You're not just out here. I don't know if you saw, like when I shared the flyer for your show, I put catching flights and feelings.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, Kirsten, that was corny, but I left it because I think it's beautiful that you're a married woman and you're traveling with your life. And I'm sure that has informed your marriage in some way. Like, I feel like that's y'all's thing.
Yeah, it is. It is. I've dated people in the past that talked about travel and how they love to travel.
And then they don't go anywhere.
We get together and we go to, Georgia.
Houston, Miami. Houston, Miami.
That's it. And I'm like, put me on a plane. Like, that's my happy place.
Yes.
Planes are my happy place. And so when I met Adrienne, the love of my life, when I met her, she said she liked to travel. And I was like, all right, we'll see.
We'll see.
And we traveled. Like I think our first trip anywhere, like on a plane, I should say, was New York. She told me, pack a bag. We're going out for the weekend.
I love it.
And I was like, we're going what? And she's like, yeah, pack a bag. Packed a bag, and I ended up in New York, staying in Manhattan. She took me to my first Broadway show, which was Les
What did you
Mis.
see? Oh, it's a classic. Okay.
It is.
Yeah.
And I used to play in the orchestra pit when I was younger. I played Les Mis many, many times. I've never seen it. My first time seeing it was on Broadway with her.
Okay, Adrienne the romantic.
Look, she
I
is
love it.
so romantic.
That's beautiful.
But just we love to travel, and I'm so glad I call her my travel bae.
Yes.
I met my travel bae, and we can go and we travel well together. You can't travel with everybody.
You cannot. So that's a question. I want to kind of go. So what is your travel? Because I've experienced that where I've gotten a group of people together and I'm like, oh, I'm never doing this again because I'm trying to lay by the pool. And they're like, okay, Kirsten, at 7:30, we're going to be here. At 10:30, we're going to be here. And then we're going to break for lunch. And I'm like, I just want to chill. And I'm a high-strung person. So when I go on vacation, I want to just relax. So what is your travel style as a couple? Like, how do you all?
So we're both very chill. Very chill. But we like to go on trips like the Haitian Nomad trips. There's an itinerary. You can do what you want. You don't have to do everything.
But you can choose.
But we like to do everything because all the stuff we do on his trips are cool.
Right.
When we travel on our own, when we're not traveling with the group, our trips tend to be less structured. We just kind of go somewhere and hang out.
Yeah.
We did that for the inauguration. We when they decided during COVID that they weren't going to allow people at the inauguration, we actually were going. We had tickets, and well not tickets because they didn't hand out tickets, but we had like all the travel plans. And when they said that they weren't going to allow folks, we said, okay, pivot. Where are we going to go then? I canceled the tickets. I canceled everything and got us to Cabo.
Nice.
I wasn't going to go to DC and freeze to death.
No.
So we went to Cabo. And what did we do in Cabo?
Nothing. I love
Nothing. We were on a resort, and we left the resort twice. Once to take a cruise. It was like a dinner cruise where you could see whale watching and went by the arch. And then we went shopping one day, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, we hung out, and we just chilled, and we just relaxed. And it was one of the best trips.
And that is so important. I think I hear people talking about wanting to travel all the time, but trying to force it with someone that they'd like to travel with. I think it's important to have an understanding and a respect for one another, and respect the other person's pace. But it sounds like you all just kind of fell into naturally. There's a vibe. There's a vibe.
There is.
I mean, I almost didn't want to use that word because everybody's talking about vibes all the time. But
it's a true vibe between us. We are just comfortable traveling with each other. We kind of have the same like style when it comes to like, are we going to just chill? Yep, let's just chill. Or, oh, we really want to do this. And I will plan the trip, but once we get there, it's Adrienne that has everything like that. She's like, I think you want to do this. Okay, let's go. Like, we just kind of roll with it. And like, we went to Vegas for her birthday. I surprised her.
I love all these surprises. Pack a bag. I love it. I
didn't tell her. I just booked the ticket. She didn't know until we got to the airport. It was kind of like a mystery trip for her. But as soon as she knew where we were going, she was on her phone. She found this, that, and other, and she's a TikTok person, so she went on TikTok and found all these cool places. I'm not a TikToker. I don't even have an account, but I get a million TikToks from her, like, daily.
Yes.
And she found all these cool places. We went to these really cool, like, eateries, too, because we're, like, foodies.
Right.
And so we went to a lot of, like, places to eat. And,
it's like my favorite
thing.
Like,
we were there for, like, a long weekend, but it was the best. And, like, again, no real planning to it other than I'm going to get us to Vegas, and then we'll see what happens. And it just works out.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And TikTok, I was asking our producer before the show, like there was a song that came on. I'm like, what song is this? And he was saying how he found a lot of the music he listens to on TikTok. But you're the third or fourth person that I've also heard say they reference TikTok. Yeah. So social media, I'm curious, how big of a part does it play in your travel plans? Like, do you ever find places that you just never had any inclination? Because like Vegas, it's like we know about Vegas because it's Vegas.
Right.
But have you ever found something on social media and that was the catalyst for your trip? Not so much.
I wouldn't even say that. I think mostly the main thing when we travel is, where's the Haitian nomad going? Where are his trips this year?
Right.
Because he drops like a list for the year, and then you kind of, we literally look at the list separately, pick our top 3, and then we go back and we go, okay,
Kind of
where are we
narrow it
going?
down.
And we narrow it down. That's how a lot of our trips happen.
Okay.
But then the ones that we just take on our own, I mean, we went to Belize too. Some of the ones we're taking actually are in preparation for retirement.
Yes. Come on, retirement.
Retirement, not in the United States.
Listen, that's a whole other episode.
Yeah, that's another episode. I'll be
Happy
back
to
for
have
that
you back.
one. I'll be back for that
No,
one.
it's a very common theme right now and has been for a minute.
Yeah,
and I encourage anyone who wants to leave to make preparations to do so.
Out.
Yeah.
Ready to go. Like,
Well, you know what? So I want to go back a little bit and talk about the financial aspect of it, because I know as people are watching, they're going to be like, well, I don't have it like that. I can't.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the main things that, it's a mental block. But I love that you brought up that you can make payments. Like, you don't always have to go and plunk down 5,000 here, 3,500 here. You can plan. So with the Haitian nomad, for example, you said he allows you to make payments like over the course of a year.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Most of his trips, he drops them a year in advance. So you're making payments on them. So I think every trip I've taken with him has been a year in advance worth of payments. So we're going to Rwanda and Uganda for Christmas, for New Year's. And that was a trip I started paying on in December of last year. And so when you see us going on these trips, they're already planned a year in advance. And it makes it affordable.
Absolutely.
For sure. But I think a lot of times people look at the price.
For you.
Right?
Sorry, I'm like,
but people look at the price and they're like, oh, that's a lot of money. But if
Yeah.
you can take it and break it into 11, 12 payments, it's affordable. And even now, like post-pandemic, there's a lot of companies that are making it where you can make payments on it. And like all those little like Affirm and all those things, you can use those.
I got an email recently and I'm like, ooh, that's so tempting. Okay.
Affirm. Yeah.
I'm like, wait, I could. And something else I would like to talk to you about, and I don't know how I want to frame this, so I'm just going to say it directly. There tends to be, with certain people who travel, like an elitist attitude about traveling. And so here we are talking about basically like paying on trips,
Right.
How do you deal with the messaging that, certain people deserve to travel and it needs to look a certain way? There's that side of it. And then there's the other part, which we briefly talked about before the show started. And then you have people who really have, channel my grandma, a spirit of contention. But sometimes when you travel, people, instead of being happy that you're seeing the world, there's like jealousy. How do you deal? Because obviously, your byline on our flyer says travel is my therapy. Like travel does so many things for us. But there's stuff that you have to deal with from people in our community, whether they're close-knit or even if they're just in the periphery. How do you process that?
To each his own. And I don't worry about what other people think.
There you go.
Travel is my therapy.
Yes.
It may not be your therapy.
Right.
And it's okay if you don't like to travel. I do. And it's okay if you unfollow me. It's okay because I'm going to still travel. And I want to share it with people that want to see it, right? So if they don't want to see it, it's very easy to turn it off. I feel everyone should travel.
Yes.
Everyone. I don't have that, oh, you shouldn't travel. And everyone does it in their own way. Even if you're just like, oh, I don't want to go overseas. I don't want to be on a long plane ride. That's fine.
Okay.
Travel here in the States.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a lot of the States. I've seen the Southern and I've seen a lot of the East Coast. But like my first trip to California was this year.
Yeah.
People were like, you've been to Italy, but you haven't been to California.
And that's okay.
And that's okay. Like it is okay. Start where you're comfortable. And just
thank
explore.
you for saying that. Thank you, because I've been part of conversations where I'm like, okay, don't do that. I'm always like the, I don't know, try to keep peace unless you have to go to war kind of person. And so there's ideas that like, well, if you get in a car and you travel, it's not the same as getting on a plane.
Travel is travel.
And you have to start somewhere. I think that's, the message. Start somewhere. If it's just going to a town that's 3 hours away for the weekend and turning around and coming back, if that's what you can do, start there.
And that's great because you're seeing something different.
Yeah.
You're experiencing something new. And to me, it's all about the experiences, whether it's 5 minutes down the road or across the Atlantic Ocean.
Yeah.
You're going to experience something. And that's a memory that you're going to have. And normally, travel is a good memory.
Yeah.
It can be hectic. I mean, flights, delays, stuff like that.
Sleeping on the airport floor.
You learn to roll with those, though. You really do.
Yeah.
And once you start traveling more, those things aren't what you focus on. You focus on the experience that you had. And I think that's the beauty of travel.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah. So what would you, I don't know if I don't want to get too personal, but travel is my therapy is a very strong statement. What would you say that it has done for you internally, like as a human being? What has it done for you?
So travel gives me a sense of peace. I know travel makes some people anxious, but it does the complete opposite for me. 2020.
Oof. Yeah.
2020 was rough for me. I'm an extrovert, and I love to be out and about, and I love to travel. I didn't get to do all my traveling in 2020. We actually flew back from Thailand via China because we were in Thailand for New Year's 2020.
I remember that.
Yeah. And we had a long layover in China, 8 hours, or no, 23 hours. So we took an 8-hour tour in China. They were talking about a mysterious flu when we were on our way back. And my wife was like, mysterious flu. And she's spidey senses. So she's like, something's not right.
Yeah.
Something's not right. And then she's like, we need to get home. We need to get home. We got back to Texas on the 7th of January. I think it was the 7th of January. And then the world shut down on March 17th.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, so we had trips, they got moved and they got pushed. And I was like, well, I need to go somewhere. Like I was itching to get out of my house. And Hitch Nomad saved me because we did have a trip planned for Senegal for Memorial Day weekend that year.
Okay.
And it got pushed to November. And we all thought, it's not going to happen because pandemic was high. But what people fail to realize is just because it was going crazy here doesn't mean it was going crazy everywhere.
Right.
So I do appreciate this about him. He stays current with everything that's going on, where we're going. And he followed everything that was going on in Senegal.
Yes.
And he said, it's safe enough to go. However, if you're not comfortable going, you don't have to go.
You have a choice.
You got your refund. He was not one of those people that was, getting over on people because they were canceling things and whatnot. And we went to Senegal. And when I tell you, I was so at ease in Senegal versus being here and
having that tension and that
Yes. And when we got there, I mean, we had to take COVID tests, of course. We had to, when you get there, you had to show your test, and you had to take another test when you got there. I mean, it was crazy. Like, I'm not going to sit here and lie and say it was a simple trip. But Senegal was the place I needed to be at that time because I was getting very worried and anxious and like things were building up here.
Right.
But then I got there and it was like
everything just kind of like fell away.
Yeah. And they were doing like testing everywhere. And like when you went places, they were taking your temperature and they were like, taking your temperature, making you sanitize. Here, they weren't doing any of that.
And I know that you and Adrian were not playing around because I've seen your pictures and you're you're masked up. Like y'all weren't just gallivanting around, just being.
No, not
you
at
and
all.
I even had conversations about like people not masked.
Yeah, safe travel. I was double masked, and that mask would go on when I left my house, and that mask would not come off until I got to my hotel room in whatever country I was going to. Senegal was multiple flights.
Yeah,
that mask was on my face for 24 plus hours.
Yeah,
like it was real, but I needed that. When I say travel is my therapy, I'm not kidding. I needed that trip. And I'm so thankful that we were able to go on it.
Yeah.
I've got the memories and the pictures,
and you'll have them forever. Yes.
And it was much needed for me.
So you have to tell me. I remember, I think when you said Adrienne and her spidey senses, I'm very much that type of person. And my grandmother used to say, gut is God, baby. And I literally say that like once a day.
Yeah.
Like if I'm trying to evaluate, I have a decision, I'm like, okay, gut is God. What is my gut? And that's usually what I go with, because when you go against it,
that's when problems happen.
But tying into that, I've always thought, and I'm the opposite. Like I go places, I don't tell anybody, and I'll take like a corner of a picture on the floor, and they're like, "Where is that?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's just a lot of the stuff that I post. It's like somewhere I went,
right?
And maybe that's my Scorpio nature. I'm like, I'm telling my mama, and that's it." But one thing that I can attest to, and you'll have to tell me if you've experienced this. I think one of the reasons why it's also so important to travel is because every place and every land mass and every body of water has a different energy.
Oh, yes.
And sometimes you need to experience the energy that is in a place. And, yes, it's the music. Yes, it's the food. But I really do believe, and I know that you are a Christian, and so I'm not saying anything like weird or like, okay.
No.
But I'm always very respectful of everyone's belief systems, but it's true. You get off of a plane and your feet touch the ground and you feel something.
You do.
Every time.
Every single time.
So I'm sure Haiti is probably where you feel that the strongest.
Yes.
But is there another place you remember going and you get off the plane and it was just like, wow, I was supposed to be here, right now at this time?
There are a lot of places that we've traveled where I have felt like this is where I was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Any African country I've been to, I've felt that way. It's a connection that you have that you don't have any control over either.
Right.
I truly think it's part of our DNA that we
Absolutely.
have these connections to these places. But it's just, it's a feeling. And unless you have gone to some of these places, that give you that feeling, you
don't know until you experience it.
You won't know. But Haiti is truly my place.
Yeah.
Every single time I stepped off a plane in Haiti, I just...
it's like your soul is at ease.
Everything that I was stressed about, and I stress a lot. I'm a worry person. I'm a person that has to know everything. But when I
can
get there,
identify a little bit,
just a little,
just a little sprinkle.
But when I get there, I relax, and I don't have any worries.
Yeah,
it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
It is.
So, I want to also touch on just a little bit, just briefly. I'm sure that people are like, well, dang, we know that they're making playmate pans, but what do you do in your professional life in terms of your career? Because we know that certain career paths are more travel friendly.
Right.
And there's some where it's just kind of prohibitive. Yeah. So I just wanted to touch briefly on your professional, whatever you would like to share. Because I know that, it ain't everybody's business.
Well, I'm a project manager.
Yes.
And I work remote.
Yes.
So that does help a lot. And I feel like when you are remote, you can have those experiences and you can go more places.
Absolutely.
But you have to have a company that's also flexible.
Right.
Right. So a lot of companies, you can't travel out of the country. Right. I don't work when I'm out of the country though. Right. I make it a point not to work when I'm out of the country, because when I'm on PTO, I'm on PTO. Yeah. There's no...
I'm so glad you said that, though, because, again, we are Black women. And one of the things that I feel very strongly that we have to learn, myself included, we're all a work in progress. We have to learn to stop, to unwind, and to give ourselves permission to rest.
Yes.
And it's not rest if you got your laptop and your spreadsheets and your flow charts.
Laptop
that is
doesn't
not...
even travel with me.
Okay, say that again.
My laptop does not travel with me.
I'm so glad. Somebody needed to hear that right now.
Somebody.
Yes.
Whoever you are, do not take your work laptop with you on PTO.
There you go.
Just saying.
Put it on a t-shirt. No, it's so important because I think, and you'll have to tell me if you've experienced this, you probably have had some vacation in the past where you did try to work in vacation and it's disastrous.
I did.
You don't enjoy it. No. You regret it. And then you're like, did I waste my money?
And I missed out.
Yeah.
On parts, right?
Yeah.
And I don't like missing out. My wife tells me I have FOMO. I don't. I just like to enjoy what it is I'm doing. And when people are traveling with their laptops and they're like, oh, I'm just going to go take this call.
It never happens that way.
You just missed the rainbow.
Right.
Or you just missed the sunset.
Yeah.
I need to enjoy those things. That's why I travel. So I don't do work when I travel.
That's smart.
I might do work on the front end or the back end of travel, right?
Yeah.
So I don't have to use all my PTO days on a trip. I'll work, but I still don't have my laptop.
Yeah.
I still don't have my laptop.
That's so smart. There's do you know Laverne Witherspoon? I just feel like everybody knows everybody, but she's a brilliant woman. She lives now in South Korea, and she had a military career. Her husband is, I think he's still military. But she said something to me once that was so poignant and so potent, because I was trying to make like 50 things happen in this very small space of time.
Mm-hmm.
And she just said this. She didn't preach, even though she is a pastor.
Mm-hmm.
She just said, rest is spiritual. Mm-hmm. And that spoke such volumes to me. And again, as Black women, as women of the African diaspora, like, we have to give ourselves permission to rest.
Yes.
We have to give ourselves permission to enjoy life.
Yes.
We have to give ourselves permission to travel and know, like, you do deserve it. Because I think sometimes we can talk ourselves out of things. Like, I don't really need to see Paris. It's not.
No.
I don't really need to see it.
But you do.
But you do.
Because if you're telling yourself you really don't need to see it, there's something in you that's saying you do.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And you're just kind of like rationalizing.
Yep.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So when you have that feeling, do it.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's ever regretted, like, just doing it, like something that's been nagging at them, and they're like, I should go. Just do it.
Yeah. No, you truly never forget. Again, in one of these groups that we're in together, I remember someone posted if there was like a trip that they regretted, and it was so funny because it had to do with like significant others. And I remember sharing, I had a trip that, I was in a relationship with someone at the time, and the trip was like amazing, but the person wasn't. Ooh. It's just a part of life.
Right.
But that trip I still remember fondly. Like, I went and ate in someone's home.
Right.
Like complete strangers.
Right.
I was dancing salsa. We started talking, and they're like, we just,
they're
like, come to our house.
Yeah.
And my gut was like, do it.
Right.
So, and then, 4 or 5 days later, I had another great experience. And that was 15 years ago, 16 years ago. I still remember that trip fondly.
Right.
Even though the person was kind of like,
Go with your gut. You're right. Right. Go with your gut. And there's always things that happen that aren't planned when you're on a trip.
That's the magical part of it.
Oh, my goodness. Awesome. Italy. We went to eat pizza, of course. I didn't even eat pizza before.
But you're in Italy. You have to.
Ago. Right. So we went to Italy, and we went to a restaurant, and these two guys, the restaurant was filling up, and it was lunchtime.
Oh,
these two guys literally walk up to us, and they ask, can they sit with us? And we're like, sure. So they sit down with us, and we enjoyed a meal together. They only spoke Italian. Adrienne speaks some Italian. I speak no Italian. And we had a conversation, and they talked about their food, and they asked us where we were from, and we said Texas, and they pulled it up online, and they showed us a picture of a longhorn.
I knew it. I thought you were going to say a cow or some boots or a horse.
Yep, it was a longhorn, and they were like, Texas? And we were like, yes, Texas. And it was just the coolest experience.
I love it.
Random.
Because I think that's kind of the way we're supposed to be living, right?
Yes.
I mean, without all this other stuff, the layers of conditioning and the systems, we're supposed to be living with that, that. We're supposed to be communing with people. We're supposed to have villages, whether it's a traditional village or not.
Right.
We're supposed to connect with people. And so sometimes it's hard to do that in your home environment, and you can commune with someone in another country.
And that's the beauty of traveling. Yeah. You meet people wherever they may be. And sometimes you connect with them, sometimes you don't, but that's okay.
Right.
And, I have friends all over the world, and I have friends that have moved from here to all over the world. So I love that, because then it's like, oh, I have somewhere to go visit.
Right. You have like an international travel tribe.
Yes.
I keep trying not to say the names of, but yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So your next trip is Rwanda and Uganda.
Yes.
So how did you pick that place? Because was it like, we want to go back to Africa and we'll just pick a country, or was it specifically we have to go to Rwanda?
So pre-pandemic, we were traveling somewhere for New Year's every year with the Haitian Nomad, because he does a New Year's trip everywhere.
Right.
We went to Egypt with him. That was our first one.
I remember that
And
one.
we
I really do
sailed
follow you.
sailed down the Nile River
Yeah.
for New Year's Eve. It was amazing. And from that trip,
That's
we were
powerful.
like, we're going on every New Year's trip, because they're all always amazing. We were on a beach in Thailand one year, that year before COVID. And then we haven't been on any since. And so this is the first New Year's trip that we're able
Since
to go back
COVID,
since
yeah.
COVID. And so really that's the main reason. But we also have a goal to try and travel to every African country.
Okay.
That
That
was Adrian's
and
like,
there's
thing.
52 countries?
There's
54?
52, I
Okay.
think, don't quote me. But it's a lot.
Yeah.
But we are well on our way. I think we've hit
Yes.
6. I think we've hit 6.
And that's I mean, that's more than most.
Yeah,
Most
I
people have
mean,
not been to 6 African
and
countries.
it's been in a short amount of time. And
Yeah.
like when he
I
has
wanna
trips when he has trips to Africa, we definitely try to
Yeah.
get on them. Rwanda and Uganda are beautiful countries. And just gonna go and experience it and enjoy and bring in the new year in yet another place.
So, what does it feel like to bring in the new year, like in another country?
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome because it's
And do you get sad when you have to come home?
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't imagine, like.
Yeah. It's awesome because you're just enjoying that culture and what it is they do there, right? And then it's always amazing because I'm Haitian. I'm
Right.
Haitian.
Right.
So we have a New Year's tradition.
Do you eat soup jumu
Soup
while you're
jumu.
abroad?
If I could,
What?
I would.
Okay.
If I could,
Don't tell me
I
you're the
would.
lady with the Tupperware on the plane,
I'm
because
not.
we do
I'm
that.
not. But
I've done
Adrienne
that.
would cook it for me if I needed to, because she has made soup jumu and it's amazing.
Really?
Yes.
Okay,
that's
Adrienne.
That's a whole nother story.
Okay,
but
you really lucked out.
But
I love it.
So that's the thing that Haitians do, right?
Yes.
And every country we've been, there's been something that they do, and I love being able to experience that.
Yeah.
And it's just it's cool to
That's
say,
beautiful.
oh yeah, I brought in the new year in Egypt, or
Yeah.
and
See, I misunderstood at first. I thought you were taking jumu
no,
But because
If I could,
we
I
do
would.
that though.
Oh, yeah.
We've all been on the plane with
it's
one of our.
It's hard to do jumo now because you can't really take liquids on the plane.
But you can freeze it.
See, you are my sister.
There are workarounds,
ways,
everything.
there are
And
ways, yeah.
zaboka. So once I had my guacamole thrown away because it was a little bit too, and I was like, but this is not a liquid.
It's not liquid.
It's a soft solid.
Right.
And so now, like, I always have, because I travel with I have avocados. They took it and threw it away, and I almost cried. So now, and there was a Haitian sister like in line behind me, and the reason I know she was Haitian because she literally was like, "Oh, zaboka," and I was like, "Wait, somebody said something." Wait. And I turned around and she was scowling, like she was mad for me, and it was so funny. It was just such a funny moment. But yeah, you can freeze certain things and get them to where they need to be. Just saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have a question about language then, because since you do speak Creole and you speak English, obviously, any of the Francophone, Latin-derived languages, you can kind of understand. Like in Italy, I'm sure there were things you could kind of pick up.
Yeah, I pick up some.
And even in Senegal, they're speaking French, but Senegalese French is different from France French.
And I took French in school, right? Because for me, it was an easy A. I'm just saying. I took it because it was an easy A. And
so then you do speak French, textbook French.
Okay. Textbook French. And it's been so
I hate the
long,
word. I hate saying
but
proper.
Yeah, but it's like, I will not say that I'm fluent in French. I can't say that. But conversational, I can get around.
That's
I
all
was
you
around
need.
France, right?
Yeah.
And so I can pick up a lot of words, and that's kind of how I make it work, right?
Yeah.
I just kind of listen for stuff that sounds similar, and it works out for me. So yeah, and then Adrienne speaks Italian, and then she's been around the Middle East. So like between the two of us, we can make our way. Crazy thing is, we live in San Antonio and we don't speak any Spanish.
Really?
But I can pick up.
But you can,
plenty, right? So yeah.
And one of the things that I think is, see, this happens every episode. We're really getting into the conversation. And then our producer's like, 5 minutes. I'm like, no, we have so much more to talk about. But what I was going to say, and I'm sure you can attest to this, and the reason I want to talk about language is because I feel like, well, I know I have heard people say that's another reason why I can't travel, because I can't go to this country. I don't speak the language. I'm going to get kidnapped. No. I won't be able to communicate.
Google Translate is your best friend when you are traveling. Yeah. I mean, people literally will whip it out and they'll start typing in and then they'll let it play for you. And then, and now they have them where you don't even have to type it in. You can speak it into it and then it'll play it in the other language. Please don't let language be a barrier to stopping you from travel. You can travel everywhere.
Absolutely.
You don't have to know the language, but it's good to learn a couple phrases before you go. Be able to say thank you and please. Be able to say excuse me.
Especially Americans. I'm sorry, I'm just going to say it. We should not have the expectation that everyone speak to us in the King's English.
Please don't.
That's very entitled.
Your entitled, privileged American English to any country and expect somebody to listen to you. We were coming back from somewhere and we were at the airport and there were these girls in front of us, weren't a part of our group, and they were like going off because the lady at the gate didn't speak English, and like they were like really, and I was like, you're not in America.
I know. It's a thing that Americans tend to do. And like you, I have friends all over the world, and you know, anytime I can say like I'm Haitian, and or I'm like, oh yeah, my mama's from Louisiana, my daddy's family is Haitian, and they're like, but where are you from? And I'm like, Texas, because there is an idea that American people are a certain way. So it's nice to hear you talking about having a communal experience with someone you can't really you didn't beat them over the head and say, well, you can sit here if you can speak English. No, you welcomed them. You had a beautiful memory.
They welcome me. You know, and they welcome me into their home because I'm not coming there with my American privilege, because that is a thing, people. I mean, American privilege is a thing, and you know, like, oh, we're American, and no, not everybody speaks English. And that's okay.
Absolutely. Just learn the basics. Someone, I don't remember who it was. I don't know if it was a poet or an author, because I'm always reading, but they said when you speak to a person in their language, you're speaking to their heart. So just try. Learn how to order something. Learn how to say please, thank you, and that takes you, you know, a really long way.
Miles ahead, and you'll be able to navigate much better, because a please or a thank you goes a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know we only have like probably 30 seconds at this point, but I wanted to ask you, outside of the travel itself, what can we look forward to from you, possibly? Because a little birdie said that you might want to foray into blogging at some point. I think you would be amazing.
I do.
Because your eyes are like lighting up as you're talking about all of this.
I do. I want to start a blog, and I will. Okay. I am making the time for it, right? Because between school and work, a little busy.
And we didn't even get to talk about that. Okay, before we sign off, so you're married to like a whole Dr. Adrian Wolfe. Okay, yes. And then you are finishing your, I'll let you.
I'm finishing an MBA with the project management emphasis. And so school is taking up a lot of time.
Absolutely.
But I have all the pictures. So I will start a blog.
So I'll just check back with you in like
but it's not
October of next year. I'll check back.
Yeah. Okay. Give me a year. Give me a year. I will start a blog because I want to share our experiences with other people. And yes, my social media is full. Like I'm on Facebook and Instagram, right? And so I share a gazillion pictures. There's an album for every place we've been, but a blog will be able to reach more people, right? And so I'm definitely going to do that.
Absolutely.
As soon as I make this time.
Okay. All right. Well, we're looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. I already follow you now. And I just want to say on a personal note, just thank you for being you and showing up as you are. I can't even remember when we met. Oh, yeah, we met at the poetry. But what I'm getting from you sharing your travels and just how you move around in the world is the very thing that I sensed about you when we first met. So just thank you for being that person. Thank you for sharing it inspires me. And so maybe I'll even start sharing pictures when I travel. I don't know. I was like such a Scorpio. I'm like, I don't want anybody to know where I am. So we'll see. I'll work on it. But thank you, Patricia. Thank you for taking time out of your day. I know how busy you are. And
awesome.
I would love to have another conversation
Oh, yeah.
once you're done with school and you have
Yeah.
some room to breathe.
Yeah.
So
Would be
thank you
great.
again.
Thank you
So
so much.
everyone, this is something I'm just remembering that I need to start doing. I'm really bad about asking for stuff. We would love to get this out to as many people as possible. So all you have to do to make that happen is you just push like, you push share, and then more people can see it. So until next time. And what? Oh, and subscribe. See, and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Sorry. Thank you, Mr. Producer. Okay, we're signing out. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See, this was easy.